mean, so we all went to law school at different times, and so I want to do a comparison. Like, what were your experiences in law school? How did you find? How difficult was it? Were there good parts about it, bad parts about it, like memorable parts? Like, just talk briefly about that.
Memorable.
I mean, I had fun in law school, but we did have, I think the more challenging classes were like constitutional law class, because there was a stark divide in like constitutional law. Like,
What do you mean?
it's like, because when we would start talking about Brown versus Board of Education, those like seminal cases that we know, one of my law professors was actually the law professor that, the attorney that argued Gideon versus Wainwright.
Wow.
And he was still, Bruce Jacobs, he was still actively teaching, even though Gideon versus Wainwright was done like in the 60s or something like that. He was actively teaching. But constitutional law, I remember distinctively, one of our classmates was just like, well, if I have a red cup, are they gonna stop me based on a red cup? And the teacher's like, a red cup is not the same as being stopped based on race or things being decided based on race. Obviously, this was a white boy who just didn't understand the dynamics of it. And I think it was even a little harder because I went to law school down south. I went to law school in Florida. So they don't know if they're Republican or Democrat over there. So,
That's a fact. Yeah.
They don't. It's true. Every year. They don't know.
So what about you, DeBro?
Okay, so law school, it had its highlights. I guess the biggest thing for law school for me was the switch. Like, because I had some time off, and then I went to law school. So it was like all the reading, all the assignments, 3, 4, 5-hour exams. Like that was just a wake-up call and to see, like, oh my God, this is what lawyers go through and whatnot. But then you get into like very interesting topics like constitutional law, and there were heated debates.
Yep.
Because affirmative action.
Yep.
That was a very heated debate, and then you hear people's viewpoints on the subject, and then you're like, oh, okay, this person was befriending me, but then is very upset about the rights and laws that are in place. Right. And then the curve, and I always remember about like, I got like 90 something on my test for a practice test. Before curve. And on that assignment, I ended up getting a C. Because everybody else got like a 95, 96, 97, 98. And like, I was thinking like, oh, I'm doing enough. Like that's an A in undergrad.
Right, but not
That's
here.
not here.
Imagine taking that test to your mom. Mom, I got a 90. Why I say C?
Right.
Get your ass beat.
Exactly.
For a 90. Yeah.
So that was a real wake up call.
I think that law school really, like, when you get these heated debates in law school, because really you're there to debate. Like, that's what we do as lawyers. So they teach you how to debate. And I think people's true colors do come out.
I'm like, we can't be friends if
So
that's how you feel.
you see everybody's thought process and, kind of how they grew up and how they view other people and how they view other situations. So I think that was the most interesting thing to me in law school. Like, there was really no hiding. There was no hiding who you really were.
Not in those classes.
Yeah, in the constitutional law and stuff like that. Yeah.